Hollen of Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank both of you for your service. And Madam Secretary, just to pick up on that last thread, because we've heard it throughout this morning, our Republican colleagues trying to have it both ways. On the one hand, they beat up on our proposals to reform the corporate tax code, to make it more fair, to make sure that every multinational corporation pays its fair share, that they can't park their profits in the Cayman Islands and other places. And then on the other hand, they say, oh, this reconciliation bill is going to add to the deficit, and they tie it into this debt ceiling debate. Let's just be very clear. The Build Back Better agenda that President Biden has proposed would pay for itself through some of the tax reform measures you mentioned, right?
Yes, absolutely. It will pay for itself.
Which is very different than the 2017 Trump tax giveaway to big corporations that didn't have a penny to pay for it. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Right. It was resulted in very large increases in deficits, right, and the Biden package will not. And over beyond a 10-year horizon, it will improve tax collections and reduce deficits substantially.
Right. And let's now talk about one of the tax cuts we want to extend, right, which is the tax cut for middle-income and lower-income families with kids. We estimate that this year that cut child poverty in half in the United States, right?
Yes, the child tax credit and other features.
But that expires at the end of the year, does it not?
It does, and we think it's important to extend it. It's really critical support to families that are trying to raise children, and we've already seen in 3 months of distributing these child tax payments, spending on food that's reduced, food insecurity, on apparel, and on children and their well-being. It makes a huge difference.
Right. So let's just be clear. We're hearing Republicans this morning beat up on us for closing big loopholes in the corporate tax cut, in part to pay for an extension of tax cuts for middle-income families with kids,
that's right,
which cut child poverty in half this year. And I guess their position is, well, let's just let it lapse, and then we can have child poverty double in the years to come. Madam Secretary, I have a series of questions. Some of them I'm going to put to you for the record on the issue you raised with respect to the emergency rental assistance. And I share your concern that this money hasn't gotten where it's needed quickly enough, and I appreciate some of the measures you've taken recently to allow renters to self-certify income and financial hardship. I hope you will also make it clear that with the appropriate safeguards, landlords can submit applications in bulk on behalf of tenants, and we'll be following up with you on that. Also, I heard you responding to Senator Smith. Can you give us assurances that as we reallocate some of these funds, and I understand why you want, that we're not going to harm the very people we wanted to help simply because their local government couldn't get the funds out as quickly as some others?
We will certainly try to avoid that. We're aware of that possibility, and we will try to reallocate, for example, within states so that individuals who aren't being helped locally will have access.
Right. I'm also going to follow up with you on, in Baltimore City's case, you have said, the Treasury has said that they can use their funds to try to bring back tourism, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But they can't use their funds to try to bring back families who may have left Baltimore City during this pandemic to live in other places, even though bringing them back would not just be a one-time tourist investment in the city, but a long-term investment. I will follow up with you on that.
Be happy to do so.
Chairman Powell, you've spoken